Welcome to Feelings Not Included. It's a podcast where we keep it 100% real about 100% real shit. Today we got Chevy joining us, Miss Chevy joining us. She on audio only, but we got some hot shit to talk about. So go ahead and introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll go from there and get it started.
Hello, I'm Chevy. I'm here today to hopefully not get myself in trouble, but
You
here we
good? You
go.
good? All right, so we just gonna kick this off. And I don't we ain't got no followers, nobody watching right now, but we just gonna kick this shit off because it has to be kicked off. So we've been having a discussion for a little while earlier today about the difference between a man having a baby out of wedlock while he's married and a woman having a baby and blaming it on the man. And you had messaged me and said something about how we think that shit is different, and you
Yes.
think it's the same. Uh, I'm going to give you an opportunity first for you to explain why you think it's a man who's married to a woman and has a baby outside of that marriage is equivalent to a man who's married to a woman who gets her pregnant, has that baby, only to find out it's not his, whether it be that day or 2 years later, or whatever it is. Help me understand.
So I think that it is the same because I think it is an equal violation. I think that's what our argument was about. That you think it's lesser of a violation if a man has a baby outside of the marriage versus the woman. I think it's equally wrong either way because it's taken away consent either way you do it. If the woman has gets pregnant and lies to this man, she takes away his consent to, have the choice to take care of these kids because you've lied to him. He thinks there's his, he's going to take care of them. If the man goes and has a baby outside of the relationship, it is I think generally like expected in our society that the woman should stay by her king, by her husband and help him raise that child, which again is taking away her consent to take care of a child. That's
Okay.
my basis.
All right. So let me just jump in first off and say fuck that. That's all the way wrong. Listen, you are correct that there's a violation on both sides. If I'm a married man, right? If I go out and I knock a chick up, she's pregnant. She either I'm gonna hide it and until I can't hide it anymore, or it's gonna come to light. Those are the two options, right? So let's say I hide it. It comes to light. This chick shows up, knocks on my door, says to my wife, "Hey, your husband knocked me up," right? At that point, my wife has a decision she can make, right? And let me let me preface this with saying I can't have kids anymore, so I'm just using this as an example. But she has a decision she has to make right there: stay or leave. There's no fuckery, there's no foolery, there's no nothing. She can stay or she can leave, right? Now let's flip the subject, right? I'm married to my wife. We have kids. I'm raising these kids. I'm putting my time, my effort. These kids love me. I love these kids. And then I find out they're not mine. There's no equivalent to that because I never had an option to leave, right? I've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, right? Tricked, bullshitted, fucked over, whatever, into thinking these are my children. So I have an emotional attachment to these kids. And now I have to deal with the fact that this emotional attachment is gone. No matter what happens, I can pretend, but I will always know those are not my children. Right? There's in my opinion, there is no equivalent feeling that a woman has that matches that. Now, from a woman's perspective, or on the woman's side of the house, you never thought this kid was yours. It was some other chick's kid. You didn't carry it. You didn't pay all the money you had to pay for the prenatal visits. And there's no, in my opinion, there's no comparison because these are two totally different scenarios. One, yes, both people lied. And in case where the husband had a baby outside of wedlock, if the wife knows from day one, or if she doesn't, whatever day she knows is the day she has an opportunity to take care of that kid or not. Most of them are going to choose not to, right? But that opportunity is there. From a male perspective, I have homies I got a homie had 3 of them that weren't his. And he found out because him and his girl got in a fight. And she was like, that's why none of these fucking kids are yours. So he got them tested and it was absolutely right, which means she knew 100%. And when I say these 3 kids, they were not newborns. I think the youngest one was like 5 or 6. The oldest one was in the teens, low teens. A man can't recover from that. So help me understand how you see that as the same.
So you can also say that a woman could have a emotional attachment to her husband and not want to leave that,
True,
or they can have already have kids, and
true.
she might not want to break up, the home that their kids and his actual kids,
Hmm.
not the, secret babies or whatever. So it can go both ways. And to me, to say that it's less, like, and maybe I'm taking it this way because I'm a woman, but it's like you're saying it's less pain for the woman if it's the man having the outside baby. And I think it's because, to me personally, because society they expect women to deal with that because women have dealt with that so long. We all know marriages where, not a lot, but here and there, where men have outside babies. And it's like, let's say the woman, she decides to leave. Then you'll hear, okay, well, he was a good man and he took care of you and the kids, and you were stupid for leaving him. You should have stayed and worked through it. So to me, there's I just don't I can't go along with you saying it's more of a violation for the man versus the woman, because
So
to me it's just like degrading
there's
how the woman
there's two
feels.
options, right? With the woman having her husband have a child. No, neither one is good, right? I want to stress that neither one is good. But if a man comes home and says, "Babe, listen, I fucked around, got this girl pregnant," there's a high probability. I'm going to go upwards of 98% probability that even if she stays, the kid's not going to be in that house 24/7, right?
Exactly, because the woman is the primary caregiver in most situations.
So
Yes.
now you have a man who finds out his kid isn't his. Is he supposed to stay in the house? Because that kid's gonna stay there every single day. So here's like the man lied by omission, meaning I didn't bring up something that needed to be brought up, right? But it didn't affect you until it was actually brought up. It didn't impact your life. It didn't affect your life. It didn't change your job, how much money you had to pay. It didn't do any of that. From a man perspective, you have what you believe is your child. From the day you believe that's your child, it changes your life. You are excited, you're happy, or you pissed off, you're mad, depending on who you are, right? But you're changing your entire life. Every day of your life revolves around that child. If you're a decent dude in some form or fashion, the work you do, the protection you offer, and then to find out that's not your kid, you can't, like, I don't I've seen women, and maybe women are stronger. I've seen women recover, or at least on the outside, recover from an outside baby. I've yet to see a man recover from having a kid that he thought was his for years, only to find out it's not. Like there's no comparison for me because one you can deal with, or you choose not to deal with. The other you have no, like, imagine, right? Not only did it affect him and the child, because the child has no idea who his father is now, right? The mom might, but the father, probably the actual biological dad, probably doesn't know who that he has that kid. Your in-laws, her parents, the man's parents, the siblings, the cousins, everybody's life is fucked up. You've destroyed multiple relationships, right?
Hmm.
Because you wanted to have a little fun, right? If I fucked up and had a baby outside my marriage, that might fuck up my relationship with my in-laws. That might fuck up my relationship with my wife, right? Not might, it would 100%. But my kids' relationship with their cousins, with all of that shit ain't gonna have an impact. Ah, your daddy fucked up, whatever. But if they find out that that kid is not who they thought that kid was, man, they ain't gonna not that kid will never be right because the kid's gonna be fucked up. His daddy's gonna be fucked up. His mom's gonna say, "Well, you should have stayed anyway." Like it's I don't know. Help me understand because I feel like I'm
Well,
missing some shit.
let me clarify that I am not arguing that this is not like devastating to a man, because I what you just said about those feelings, I 100% agree with. That's understandable. I understand where you're coming from on that. But what I'm arguing is the fact that you do not believe that it is just as hard for a woman to deal with if a man does that. And it's something that you just said, where you said, I don't understand how you don't know many men that can recover from that, but women, women that have.
I've seen it.
And that's right, but that's something to say because women go through a lot of trauma also, and we are expected to recover from it. And that's what my whole issue is. Like, you are expected to deal with it, to be more accepting of it if it is a man having a baby on you.
Could could you walk away from your kid? Let's say you have a kid and your kid's 8 years old. Could you just walk away and never talk to the kid again?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Now let's say you got a kid that's 8 years old, and You find out the nurse at the hospital swapped your baby out intentionally when your baby was a newborn. What do? Do you keep the 8-year-old and never figure out where your kid is? Do you wonder where your kid is? Or do you say, this is what it is? What's your action? And I'm asking because, well, I'm gonna let you answer, and then I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking.
So me, in that situation, I'm gonna still love my kid. The kid that I found out wasn't mine. I'm gonna love that kid. I'm gonna be there, and that's something about women and
But what
being
about the other
primary.
kid?
If I'm going to do what I can to find them, I will. But whatever that entails will not stop me from loving the kid that I have.
Is that gonna
That
put
kid
you
that
on
I
a
have.
mission to find your, like for me as a man, if I found out I had a kid that wasn't like, I need to find my kid. I need to be a part of my child's life.
Yeah, I would definitely do everything I could to
So
try to find that child.
so
But I would not disown the child that I've
okay.
been raising.
Now,
And this to me is very important about women being the primary caregivers,
mhm,
because that goes into a whole lot of other conversations that we could talk about with relationships and child
absolutely.
support and things like that, because it's easier for men to walk away from children than it is for the women. And I think
I
that's
think
just in
it's
our nature.
easier. I think it's easier for men to walk away from children because there's a system in place that allows it, right?
I agree.
But I also think it's, when I say easier for men, it's not most men. It's a specific set. It's men who were shit fathers in the first place and shit dudes. Like you
I
don't
agree.
see decent dudes walk away from their family and they walk away from their kids. Like people divorce, people separate. But let's go back to this. And imagine, right? You're doing everything you can for a child, and you find out the child is not yours. This child, and here's one part about being a father that I think a lot of people don't understand. Kids, and I say this about people who date single moms or step parents or whatever. Kids want to know their dad, right? And you've developed and devoted your entire life to raising this child, only to find out this child is not yours. That, from a male perspective, that you built your life around that.
That's absolutely devastating. I,
It's not
I'm I'm
like
agreeing with you
somebody
on
coming in
everything
and
you
saying,
say
"Hey,
there.
there's another kid," because literally, I know women have done it. They can put a brick wall up, and that kid don't exist, right? Like women have done that. I know people who had relationships and had a baby in a relationship, and a woman was like, and to me, this is a soft ass dude, and I hate to say it, but a woman's like, if you, it's either me or that child, and a lot of dudes choose their wife and pretend that child never existed, right? That's crazy to me. Nobody knows a kid. The woman cut it off. Her life is, she's mad at dude because he cheated, had a baby, but that baby don't exist to her. There's
So you're
nothing.
you're you're proving my point, because I am not arguing about the man's feeling. I understand, agree
But it's not the
wholeheartedly
same.
with someone finding out that a child is not there. But we cannot like negate how a
Oh,
woman
it's
feels
a
when she
horrible
finds
feeling.
out that her husband had
I'm,
a kid with someone. It can be just as
and
devastating
that's
as
where
you're
we
talking
disagree at.
about.
She's
See,
mad at a
and that's
man.
the argument
She's
that we
mad at a
have.
man and his actions, right? She's that. I mean, which we go through nonstop, right? Men get divorced, men cheat. That's a symptom or a result of somebody cheating, right? It's a possible result, right? He stepped out of the marriage and had a baby, knocked the chick up. That's painful. But
And that's what I'm saying.
she can live an
So how
entire
do
life and never have to address that. She can say, "Listen, that shit don't exist, and you can't deal with them." And some shitty dudes are like, "Well, I ain't gonna deal with my kid," which again I strongly disagree with. But there's men out there that are doing that, and that woman continues her life. Yes, it's some painful, but tomorrow don't change. If she don't tell nobody, don't nobody know. That man, there's no equivalent to look at a kid, knowing you're not that kid's father, have that kid. I mean, do you tell the kid? Like that's another part we haven't even, like we're just on the tip of man and woman, right? Do you?
Right. And I do not think it's fair that you are basically saying that that woman's feelings, that she is not going to go through just as much trauma
It's not gonna be as
and
much.
devastation as if it was the man. And I feel
It,
like the reason you feel like that is because men are conditioned for women to deal with trauma.
I
We are
feel like
your
I feel
society's
like that.
conditioned for us to deal with what men dish out
Here's why
to
I feel like
us.
that because a woman can get a divorce and move right on and be happy because that's all she has to do
As
is move.
a man can too.
Yes, he can too.
Much easier, because as
But
we
let's
know, the
get a divorce
value
and
of
be
men
happy
and
if she
women.
moves on, right? But if that there is no solution, there is no fix, there's no repair for a kid not being yours after you thought it was as a man. I'm sorry, there's no repair for that. There you can have another relationship, but you're never gonna be happy. Because in the back of your head, that's gonna you are not going to ever be able to function normally like that. And I don't think women understand. Like men, we put up this facade and we don't show a lot of emotions, but man, I'm saying I've talked to enough of my friends and I've seen this shit, and them motherfuckers are damaged for life. There's no new girl that can make that better. There's no new kid that can make that better. Because when he has that kid, that motherfucker in the back of his head gonna be DNA testing the shit out of that kid every chance he gets. Right?
So you don't think that if the man does it, it can be damaging to a woman for life?
It can be damaging to a woman, but in my opinion, it is, and I'm just basing this off my opinion,
You say she
right?
got so long to get over it, she just got to
She's
deal
gonna
with
get
it, right?
listen, she either she's strong enough and she's gonna say, I'm gonna stay and fight through it, which I don't
Hmm.
suggest, or she's gonna do what most of them are gonna do and get a divorce, whether for whatever reason. People get divorces every fucking day, right?
They
I
do.
mean, the separation is I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, right? But a man cheating is a man cheating. The outcome matters, but the action was the same, right? That man cheated, whether he had a baby or not. She found out, she's gonna leave, right? The most men who cheat on their woman and separate, and if she has a baby after that, he don't give a flying fuck. And most chicks probably don't care too much if her and her baby daddy separated. He has new kids. But I'm telling you, that man, if you pretend that child is his, he ain't gonna never be right. There
And
is
that
no
woman might not ever be right, is all I'm saying.
might
I'm
not,
saying that I
might
don't think
not,
I just don't agree with it being fair for you to put more weight on how a man feels versus how a woman feels.
because here's
Because
why. That woman carried that baby in her belly for 9 months, pretending to lying to that man's face, letting him build a bond with this child. When
and
if a
that
man,
man broke my trust and went and laid with somebody else and
but
had a
you
baby
that's
and all
between you
like
and him, right? There's no bond with you and that baby. You don't give a fuck about that baby. You probably hate the
but you
baby.
took away my consent. And so you're
Your
telling me
consent
then
to do what?
if I want to be with you, I have to help you take care of that
You
child.
still have that consent. But what you took, what she takes away is his parenthood, his fatherhood. That man is no longer
And
a
I
father.
agree.
That's not the
The
same.
only thing I
Your
don't agree
consent.
with is that you're saying it has more value. So what you're saying is basically the way I hear it, and maybe
What
because I'm a woman and maybe I'm biased in this, but like when I look at and these I don't have any numbers to back up what I'm
That's okay.
about to
We
say,
just off the top of the
but
dome.
married couples, I see more married couples where the man has an outside baby and the couple stays together versus where the woman has outside kids and they stay together. A
Wait,
man is
what's outside kids? Like,
let's
because
the
we
woman cheats and she has a baby with someone,
while she's
or
with that
the
man,
woman while she's with her husband,
that's
or
not an outside baby. That's an inside baby. That baby's in their life.
well, the baby's in their life, whatever. Or if she
Not an
puts the
outside
baby in
baby.
him. What I'm saying is those relationships where the woman is the one that does the violation, to me, what I've seen just with my eyes, this might not be true, is that the man is more likely to leave and be done with that versus where it's the other way around. Women tend to stay and deal with it.
And think about it, right? They're staying and dealing with it by choice, right? That's the choice. They have consent. But this is a man who lied and had a baby. It's fucked up. There's nothing good about that. This is a woman who put on a whole scheme for months and or years, every single day of her life, from the time she got pregnant until whatever day he figured out. She woke up and chose to lie. She woke up and chose to
And
mislead
that's completely
everybody.
wrong. But what about the man when he was lying when he was going to cheat?
He wouldn't
It's
cheat.
it's
It could have been a
But
one-time
he
deal.
lied to that woman. What I'm saying is, I don't see how you
Okay,
can just say
if I
it's
lie to
less.
you,
I should be less mad.
if I lie to you and it costs you nothing, right? And I'm just talking. I lie to you and it costs you very little, right? I'm just talking me and you, not husband and wife. Or I lie to you and it costs you years of your fucking life. Which one is worse, right? Because you were happy until you knew you weren't, right? If you were married and your husband is doing whatever, hopefully you happy, right? Until you find out, then you're not. This man was happy with this kid, made all these memories, and all that shit has to go away. Her memories of her being with her husband, he's still her husband until she divorces him or he divorces her. That kid is not your kid. The day you find out, everything before that crumbles, right? I mean, it's crazy
But if
because,
I choose to stay with him, it's my kid because now I have to help him raise that kid, and
well,
that includes financially. And I'm
if
not
you
married, but
choose to
if
stay,
married, if you choose to stay, but
you're
marriage
giving a
is
choice.
also,
You're given a choice from the day that kid
and the
exists.
man is also.
No, that man is not given a choice. He was forced to raise that kid because he thought it was his. He gave up hours. Okay, let's do this.
Consent is
If
taken
your
away on
man
both sides, either way it
if your
goes.
man has a baby outside of the marriage, how many years do you give to that child before you figure out that child is not yours?
It depends on if you decide to
Zero.
stay. Yeah,
No,
I
you
guess
know
zero.
it's
Yeah.
not yours. Zero. Not one moment. From the moment he
Okay.
says she's pregnant, you know it ain't yours. You can look at your belly and say that ain't mine. Right? You're mad at him because that's not your child. Right? You're mad at him because
Right.
it's father child. As a father, as a man, you when you find out, most times when you find out it's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You didn't find out because she was like, well, this might not be yours. Those are rare. I'm sure it happens, right? But those are the rare ones. It's usually years down the line, right? And you might get blessed. I knew a dude that dating a white chick, black dude dating a white chick, and she had a white ass baby. You know, he kind of found out right then. But for most people, right, it's a drawn out process over years. So years and years and years of this man's life was destroyed. There's no good time.
Hmm.
All that so-called good time shit is no longer good because your memories are torn and destroyed, and your emotions, the love you had, the your families are not just his family, not just her and him getting divorced, but the entire you fucked the kid up. The new kid ain't fucked up
Yes, I
from the
agree
start.
with what you're saying on the man's behalf. I just don't. I personally do not understand why is it always the women
It's not always.
like. No, no,
It,
not always.
it's
But
not
to me,
always.
the way I'm taking this is just, and my whole issue with this is just that you expect the woman to have less trauma if it happens to her. And
It's
I hear
less
your
involved.
argument,
It's less
but
involved.
it I don't agree with this. I wish we had somebody else could jump in
Man,
and
let me
give
let
their
me get
opinion
somebody to jump
because
in
we
this
go
shit.
we
Let
are
me
going to
get
keep
some.
disagreeing.
We gonna man. Let me find my cell phone. We finna get somebody to jump into this shit. Let me see what's going on right now. Let me see who I can grab on this. Let me see if I can find somebody on
Yeah,
this shit.
because I
Because right
mean,
now, whew, I mean, let me see. I need to probably share this shit somewhere. Let me say invite guests. I'm just gonna post. I'm gonna copy this link real quick, and I'm gonna go to my regular Facebook page here. Hang on just a second. Let me just throw this out there. Uh, let's see here, because we ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way.
no, we, yeah, because I understand. I think it's low down dirty to have a baby and lie to a man and tell him that's his baby. I fully agree with you on the trauma that can cause. I fully agree with you on that. I just I worry about the trauma that women go through because I've seen women go through this, and I've just seen women stick by their husbands and men through a lot of trauma that men wouldn't even attempt to stick by. And don't get me wrong, not all, because there are some that do, but a majority, I would say. And I just don't think that's fair. I think
I mean, it's different. It's different. I mean, I can't justify either one, right? I can't justify either one, but the shit's crazy. Like I mean, I can't. The shit's crazy. Like you, I don't know, I don't know how to word it. Like you can't look at that shit and I don't know how you can see it the same. Like that's like I'm trying to find an equivalent. There's not even something that I can make match with that. Right?
well,
That's
I,
what
I
I'm saying.
guess
Like,
because I'm seeing it the same of looking at like the hurting you pain. It's already, and I understand what you're saying that like it's about the relationship, but it's very hurtful when you
okay,
find out your man is cheating and then you got to
okay.
find
So
out you had a
so
kid
is
and
is a
and
cheating man as hurtful as a cheating man who has a kid? Was at a different level of hurt? Because the action is
it's
exactly
a
the same. I'm asking. I want to understand. Right? The action is exactly the same.
oh god, I'm gonna get in trouble. You gonna get me in trouble?
No, don't speak your
No,
mind.
because I think that it is worse if he has a kid.
Okay.
Just because I feel like I am expected to, and especially if he is what we consider a good man, I'm
I mean,
expected
obviously he
to,
wasn't right if but I feel what you're saying. He's providing, protecting.
right. I'm expected to deal with that. And I know couples that are going through that. And I'm not married, but marriage is also like a financial situation going
True
on.
that.
So if me and you have kids and we have set up our finances to be able to, take care of these kids or whatever after we're gone, that's also now has to be split and given away. Like there's a lot also on
Oh,
a woman's
absolutely.
end. So
But
the
that's exactly the
kids,
same
and
no
then the
matter
kids
the
can be
reason
messed
of the
up the same
divorce.
way too, because your kids could be at home with y'all and find out, okay, daddy got another kid. What if he's doing other things with that kid that he's not doing with the kids at home? Yeah, that would be fucked up. But there
Right? It
it can
happens.
it happens, and those kids can have jealousy or not even want
Absolutely.
to be siblings, or it's messed up that they don't even have an opportunity to be siblings.
Well, now they shouldn't not have an opportunity. If they don't have an opportunity to be siblings, that's on the mama.
On the
Somewhere the
parents, yeah.
mama is. I guarantee, dude's not gonna be like, "Hey, kid A can't hang out with kid B." That's gonna
Yeah,
be,
that's
in
true.
my opinion, a woman move,
That's true.
right? But I mean, imagine, like, as a it's the crazy part to me is I'm looking at this and I'm saying, if a man steps out of his on his wife and he has a baby, that's horrible, right? And it could end the marriage. Just like if he stepped out and didn't have a baby. Marriages end every day, right? But it isn't every day that a man finds out his children aren't his after he's put in
True.
time. And yeah, let's make it even worse. Let's put he's got 3 kids and the middle one isn't his. Right? Like there's all kind of scenarios where this shit can go bad. Right? There's no equivalent. And I'm just giving my opinion. There's no equivalent to a a woman having a child on a man, like in the way that makes a man feel. There's I don't think there's an equivalent emotional response from a because that response you're talking about is sad and pain and hurt, but it happens every time a man cheats or every time a man gets divorced or a woman gets divorced when they go through shit. That doesn't change. The kids are in the exact same scenario. This is
So
unfortunately getting
what
more
if you
common.
what if you have a relationship, man and woman, and the woman for whatever reason can't have kids? They have no kids in their marriage, and then the husband goes and has a baby with
Okay,
someone
now
else.
we've added a step that makes it a huge difference, right? Because now you're seeking what I cannot give, right, to elsewhere. That's now that's a whole different deal, right? Because that's a different level of pain because she wanted to have a kid with him, but she was incapable. He's that one I'm ooh, that's fucked up. She bit the bullet though. She got say I guess she saved. It's fucked up. But at no point in her life did she get attached to that kid that she couldn't have, think that kid that she couldn't have was hers, raise that kid with that kid calling her mom, with her believing she's mom, right? And showing her family and being excited and telling everybody about this kid that she birthed, only to find out she didn't birth it, right? That's not possible,
Right.
right? I think and this is just me looking from the outside. I think one of the biggest problems with women isn't in that scenario, right? Isn't so much of do they stay? They're embarrassed. That's where the biggest problem comes in. A lot of women are embarrassed. They want to stay, but people are going to talk shit, right? And if they can get away with without the baby, hey, then it's all good because a lot of women stay with men who cheat. The baby is proof he cheated, and that's where a lot of problem
Hmm.
lives for a lot of women. She has to be reminded.
Hmm.
Her friends know, everybody else knows.
I think
Where
that's a lot of problem with social media also because now even the
right,
cheat is public.
right. But from a standpoint of as dudes, we talk shit to our homies nonstop. But when you find out your boy's kid ain't his, there's no jokes, right? Because even those of us who never been through it, homies who don't have kids, they be like, God damn, right? Like
Yeah, because
that's you
it's a
there's
it's a violation. It's
it's
dead
not it's
wrong.
the
It's dead.
violation is not the
It's
problem. You've emotionally bonded a man with what he believes is his seed from the very beginning, and he's changed his life for this child, right? That is not his, that he doesn't know. He doesn't know
hmm
his kid. Everything this man does from the time he finds out that she's pregnant with his child until the time he finds out that's not his kid, he's done it all for that child. He's changed his life.
hmm
He's whether it's passing up on dreams, whether it's modifying your dreams, whether it's whatever, you're doing all of that with the sole intent of making sure your son or your daughter has a better life, only
hmm
to find out that's not your son, that's not your daughter. And then in most instances, the woman says, "Well, please stay anyway. You don't have to leave because he's not your kid. He doesn't know he's not your kid. What the like a dude will never say to his wife, hey, you can stay. I know that's not your baby, but we can pretend it is, right? Like no
Yes, they
dude,
do.
ain't nobody ever gonna say that because
Yes, they do.
the chick's not gonna let him pretend, right? Let's be
But
real.
they do. We all know people where the man has a outside kid and the
We do.
woman is there
We
and
she
helping
is
him take care of
correct.
that child.
I know one of those, one, and I only know that because me and her caught beef on TikTok and we did a live, and she was like, "My cousins." my son that I'm raising is actually my cousin's kid by my husband, and I was like, holy shit, like that was crazy. That was so far off the wall. I'd never heard of that shit. But this is where we at, and I don't like. I'm sorry, I don't. I think
I agree.
maybe
I
women are
just have to
stronger.
keep.
Y'all can get over that shit. I
But
don't
see
think a man
that's
can.
my problem. That's my whole problem. What you're
Even
saying
if you
about
don't
the
get
pain
over it,
that the
you can
man
move
feels,
on.
I agree with that. But my problem is with the women are stronger. Women can get over. Women, it's not as
Even if
bad
you
for women.
don't get
It's
over it,
just that
you
we
can
are
live on.
expected as right. But that's what I'm saying. You expect us. Men expect us to deal with so much. And when women, you have to think now, women are going through this trauma,
Mhm.
whatever, through these relationships, and then we get in 2023 and y'all saying that women are, you know, women are all the stuff that they say now.
I mean, listen, let me say one more thing on this. I feel like it would be the equivalent of your kid as a woman getting kidnapped. You've raised this kid, you've birthed this kid, you nurtured this kid, and then one day this kid's just snatched from you. But at another level, it's snatched from you, but you can see it every day. You can see him, but you know that's not your, like they brought him back, but that's not the same kid. Like that's not your child, right? And you're looking at this kid, right? And I can only imagine because, like I said, I've got unfortunately too many guys I know that's been through this, which is crazy. Which you hear men all day talk about every kid should have a DNA test. I fully stand by that. At the time of birth,
You know what? I stand by that too.
you know why we should do it? Because men have no fucking idea if this is their kid or not.
Hmm. I
And
don't
I
see a
think
problem with that, and I think any women, if you were doing right, you shouldn't have a problem with it.
right, but women will say, "Oh, you don't trust me." Well, motherfucker trust you, but trust don't mean shit, right?
Mhm.
That's not something you trust.
If you
You
don't
trust
have
but
anything to
verify.
hide, then to me, as soon as I hear a woman say, "Oh, he don't trust me," then she got something to
I
hide.
mean,
That's the way I
but
look at it.
I look at it. That's how I envision it. Is you as a woman having a kid and having somebody kidnap your child, and then bring a child back that looks just like that kid, but that goddamn well ain't him or her.
Okay,
And
so
and
question
mhm.
in Bizarro universe, if it was you and your kids
I'm
Bizarro
ghost.
universe
I'm
again,
done. I'm same day. Never talk to him
10
again.
years, let's say 10 years in.
Don't matter. Tomorrow morning, never again. Those are
To
not my kids. And
the kids and everything?
their father deserves a right to know who they are. And deserve
Wow.
that you that's not I'm sorry. And I'm not I had this discussion with some folks
But
online. I'm not
so
it's not the kid's fault,
parents,
but it's not the parent, it's
but
not the dad's fault either.
DNA does not make DNA makes you a biological parent, but it doesn't make how do you say that? Like
I
a
feel what you're saying. That
yeah.
they only say
Like
that about dads. Nobody says that about mothers. No, you carry that baby 9 months, you the goddamn mama, no matter how bad you are. But a
no,
man,
but people
you just a
adopt
splurge
kids
on that.
and love
Yes,
kids just like their own.
they adopt kids and love kids. I'm gonna disagree and not say like their own because they don't have their own. And if you have your own and you adopt it, listen, I'm gonna keep it real because I'm 100% real. If you adopt a child and you have your real child and there's a house fire, you can only save one. I can almost guarantee nobody's going after. No one's going after the adopted child. Don't make me the bad guy. I'm just telling you the scenario. I didn't
Oh
set the fucking
my
fire.
God. I cannot
If
believe you just said that.
or let me ask you because maybe I'm wrong. Let me put the scenario in front of you. You have your child. You have an adopted
I'm
child.
not answering that.
You know
I
why you're
don't
not answering it? Because we know the
that's
answer.
no, because
You
no,
do.
I would try to save both of my
You
kids.
know. Listen. There's a
If
house
I
fire. There's one on the left side. There's one on the right side. You can only get to one. You know it. You just gonna sit back and watch them both burn, or you going to get yours?
I'm gonna go to whichever side got the less. Who's more likely to be saved?
Okay.
Which side has the less
So
fire?
let's take a couple steps back. Now you're in the same scenario. It's your kid and somebody else's kid. You don't know. You don't. It's not your kid. It's not your adopted kid. It's just your kid.
It's a
Somebody else's
kid I
kid.
don't have any connection to.
You
Then
have
I'm
an
gonna go
equal.
for.
You have you. It's a kid you know. You have an equal opportunity to save either one, but you can
Oh
only save
shit!
one. If you can save only one, an equal opportunity, whichever one you go after is a guarantee save. No question about it.
You're
Which
gonna
one you
go
going
after
after?
your kid, your own
Okay,
kid.
so let's be honest. We care more about our kids than anybody else's, right? And there's no problem with that,
Yeah, but
right?
if you
Like
adopt a kid,
I understand
you
that.
love that kid as your
You love
kid,
that kid, absolutely.
especially if you've been years in. You
I'm
telling me
with you.
after 10 years you can
I
be
am
like,
telling you, after 10 years, if I still have to make that decision, and this is probably why I don't adopt and I'm not stepdaddy material. Let's take it a step
mm-hmm,
further. It's not just adopt a kid, it's the step kid, right? I'm going after my child. If I know I have 100% chance of saving one, whichever one I go for, I'm going to save. I'm going after mine.
I
And
wish we could ask these questions to a man that was the primary caregiver. Like the question, you know what I mean? A man that
right.
actually was,
That is
because I
the
think that
stay-at-home dad.
changes. Yes, I think that
I don't.
changes everything.
I don't, and that's
I
okay.
think that would change his answer.
So
Like the kids live with him 247, he take care of them.
right.
I don't think he could say, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know. That's
I
a
mean, I'm
lot.
just keeping it real, right? Like you know, I'm not saying choose between, because if it was my two natural kids in the house on fire, I'm just jumping in the fucking fire. Yeah, I ain't making a decision. I can't live with it. But what I can live with is me saving my child and grieving over somebody else's. Right now, this is the same. Let me tell you how. I'm gonna flip it up here, right? We just out in hypothetical land now.
We in bizarre.
But here's
world.
one of the major differences between men and women, right? I'm gonna put a scenario in front of you. You are sitting in a scenario where you've got two choices. Your child has been kidnapped. You can save your child, but if you do that, 50,000 kids are gonna die. Or you can save 50,000 kids you do not know, but you're gonna lose yours. What's your decision?
I am not mentally prepared for these.
You know what that means? That means your decision is your kid.
Yes, right? It's going to be my kid.
Because let's be real, and I've had this conversation, and I'm gonna catch hell for it. Women are not as logical as men, right? Just logically, man, that don't make sense. Me and my wife joke about it all the time. We watch these goddamn movies. It's like, oh, you can save your kid, or 1 million people's gonna die, or blah, blah, blah. Man, listen, that's just 1 million. Right? Logically, the decision is more over a few, right? But let's be real. None of us are in that situation. But my whole point of saying that is men are much more logical and women are more nurturing. That's why you're like, oh, the kid.
I agree.
So logically, I'm gonna pick my kid. And let's just imagine the scenario where you pick the other kid, and now you have to explain the remainder of your family how you chose, because guess what? That adopted kid gonna be a stranger to mom's, right? If think about it. Your wife, let's say you're a wife, you and your husband have a kid, and y'all adopt one. And there's a fire. Your husband says, I saved the adopted kid, I had an equal opportunity, but I chose, I just picked one. Come on, shit hell. Come on now. Let's keep it real, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're right. You're not wrong. You are not wrong, but it's a lot to say that. And I don't that's a lot. And you're right. The person would pick their
going back to the original, and I think that's why in this scenario women see it as is almost equal, because it's still their child, right? Like that's their child. So like we gonna bail out on my kid because that's how they're seeing it, right? But when you look at it from the outside perspective, as the man, no matter what you thought yesterday, that is no longer your child. Right.
Even though you have the relationship with that child,
built a relationship,
you can walk away from that relationship.
Do you understand what that relationship is built on? You can't look at that kid the same, right?
But it's not the kid's fault.
No, it isn't. But it's not the dad's fault either.
True.
Right? The fault lies 100% with the mother. In that scenario, 100% with the woman.
100%. I agree with that.
She has to fix that. Fixing that means putting that kid in contact with his real father. Let's just say the kid finds out that the dad is not his. Now the kid's mad at the dad too, because you didn't tell him.
True.
Right? Have you ever seen adopted kids that grow up and want to find their real parents, even though their adopted parents did everything? They never heard of these motherfuckers, right?
Yep.
Now, and this is why I'm adamant when it comes to men and stepfather shit like that, because no matter what you do, at the end of the day, that real father is more important. They want to reach out and meet, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But so from a male perspective, you put in all this work for what you thought was your child, only to come to find out that's not. And then as a father, you're like, damn, not only did I get done dirty, this kid that I thought was mine got done dirty. And there's a whole nother man who missed out on his son's or daughter's life. Like that's fucking insanity.
I agree with everything you're saying, but it's like, I guess because the mother in me, I just can't, I cannot see just walking away from some kids that I have built a relationship with. Absolutely. Like whether we're blood related or not, I just cannot see. It's just like having step parents. I had step parents on both sides. even when they're not together, whatever may happen, you still have those relationships with those people. You're still cool with those people. You
But
still
those
speak
people
to those
never
people.
had a misunderstanding of their position or their place, and you've never
Sure.
had one either, right? You came in, and again, this is why a lot of guys today say, "Hey, I can't be a stepdad because I understand the position I'm playing." If you told any man on earth, "Hey, listen, get with this woman, y'all can have a family," there's a 50% chance that kid, one of those kids might not be yours. Dude's not getting with her. It's not worth the risk, right? But as a man who's going into a stepfather role or an adopted father role, you understand all the dynamics from day one. Whereas if you are a father or you believe you're a father and then you're blindsided with the truth, man, I like
Yeah, you blindsided with the
you
truth,
jumping
and
off the
that's
deep
but
end.
but you would be literally cutting off love
You
overnight.
have no choice. You can't. This is the
So
same
what do
thing.
you think about the men that decide to stay?
I think they are way more man than me. I'm gonna keep it all the way real.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's right or wrong. Me personally,
Yeah, I'm not saying right or wrong. Just want to
actually, I think
know.
his ass wrong, but it's his decision to make. Right? It's his decision to make. Because now, what are you staying in? Right? If you
The
can,
relationship that he has with the
if you
kids.
can tell me this lie for 10 plus years every single day, because that's the difference.
We're not
Right?
talking about. I'm not talking about him staying with
So
the
staying in
woman.
the lives of
I'm
the
in the
kids.
lives of the kids. I like. Wait,
What
I understand. We're past what was done wrong on the adults end.
what do
We're
the kids
talking
tell them?
about you're 10 years in, and
Okay.
these kids live with you. You had love for these kids.
What do the
You
kids call
raised them
this
or
man
whatever.
now?
They've been calling him daddy the whole
Yeah.
time. So overnight, you can find out, okay, those are not my kids.
Right.
Yes, trauma, pain. We understand all that. But you
You
can say, I'm never talking to y'all again.
it's not oh no. I never said never talking, but you got in that
Y'all can't call me daddy anymore
you gotta
after
find
10
you have to
years.
find your real father because he
Yes,
deserves that
you
right.
do have to find your
He
real father.
deserves
But what I'm
that
saying is,
opportunity.
are
No,
you
because I
able
want to give
to
it
love
to
them less?
I'm eventually going to. I can't help it because I'm gonna look at them and see nothing but hate and anger.
Oh
Right? It's not their
shit.
fault. But listen, those kids deserve to build that relationship. I've robbed somebody because I was lied to. I have robbed somebody of their right to be a father, which
But
is another.
can they pursue and get that relationship with their father while also having a relationship with you?
They can pursue that relationship with their father. I'm the wrong dude. I'm gonna keep it all the way real. I'm the wrong dude. That's not for me. I am 100%. I want to be around my children I created with my DNA, my family. I want to get a kidney for my kid. Goddamn, I want to get a kidney.
Like if I had a baby and they switched my baby in the hospital, and this has happened,
It's happened.
women's babies, and then I found out 10 years later it wasn't my baby. I just couldn't. Again, I guess that's being a woman. I
You're
could
a
not look
mother,
at that kid
right?
and be like,
But because
you
you
can't call
thought
me
to
mommy no
yourself,
more. And
you thought to yourself,
you gotta
I had
go.
this
That's your
baby.
mom over there. Go live with her. I can't.
You've gotta somebody's gotta tell you, right? That all that shit you went through happened with another baby. Like literally, they swapped out a baby. Like all that time you put in with that child, you thought that was your baby, but you got to spend all that loving. That's not the same.
Yeah, but if you were there for 10 years, you
not
got
the
to
same.
spend all that loving time for 10 years with that child.
That was somebody outside of that environment that made a mistake or an intentional change. Sucks. Right. But that wasn't due to any kind of bullshit about the family. Nobody was lied to in that household. Right.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about your ability to be like, I'm out.
I'm going to go find my kid. I want my children. Right. I owe that's me. Now I can't speak for anybody else. Right. And I'm not a woman. I didn't carry that baby for 9 months. I didn't feel that baby growing inside of me. Right. Mm-hmm. But I would think if I did, I would really want that bond. Yes, I built that bond, right? With this child that I thought was mine. But there's other than that scenario, right? And that happened. But other than that scenario, there's no other scenario on earth where a woman thought her kid was hers because her man lied to her. Never. It can't happen. Right? It just can't happen. There's no scenario where a woman can be misled by a man to thinking she has a child that isn't hers. Like if a woman came home, let's say a woman was married to her husband for 10 years, and one day FBI knocked at the door and said, "Hey, the Tom that you thought was your husband is really David, and everything you've ever known about this motherfucker is a lie." You're gonna be pissed and probably done with him. Ain't nothing changed, but somebody you don't know told you he went by a name that you didn't know. That's all that happened.
Or like, what if he was a twin, and you dated the twin the first couple years, and then they switched out at some point in
They on some
time,
bullshit, right? They on some
and you
bullshit.
didn't know.
But if he lied about his person, who he is, who he was, his history, everything else, none of that changes the time y'all have had. But the moment you figure out, you be like, oh, fuck this dude. Most women are gonna be like, oh, fuck that dude. He's a piece of shit. He lied. I don't know. Can't trust him. I don't know anything about him. I'm never talking to him again. All that love don't matter because all that love is out the window.
Is
Right?
that the case though? Because we see women that get with
In
men
that scenario,
and find out. Well,
they
yeah,
can find out a lot, but in that scenario, they ghost. But now, if again, this isn't if dude said, look, these ain't my kids, they can't be in this house. Are you gonna put the kids out, or are you staying with your kids?
oh, I'm picking my kids.
Okay, every time, and he's gonna pick his kids too. They just not his, right? So it's like I just can't wrap my head around the concept of it being equal. Yes, I know you're saying it's as hurtful for a woman. I'm saying it can't be because that woman, however long it took her to find out, she didn't know. She had
A
no
married
experience.
woman, please join this podcast and give your opinion.
Let me see if I got. Let me see if I put the right link up there. Shit. I didn't put it on my regular page. That's why. Hang on, I put it on my other page. Hang on a second. Let me see. Let me see here. No, I think I put it on my regular one.
Man, it's just, I think these is one of these things, being a man and being a woman, we aren't going to be able to come to agreement on. And
Absolutely not.
And just because
need
of
a
nature,
panel.
I think there are a lot of things just in nature that men and women are not going to agree on.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is definitely one of them. But what I'm gonna do is obviously I'm gonna leave it up on YouTube. Get some comments. Try to get some people. We need a panel.
Yes,
We need a panel.
that's what you need.
And we need a panel. I'm gonna put that together because this was just some last minute. We were shooting the shit inside of a Snapchat group message, but we need. I'm gonna put together a panel for this one because you're right. This shit here needs some discussions.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, big time.
We need to have that. So that's my next one. I'm putting that together right now as soon as we get off this one. Anyway, listen. So we gonna come to the agreement that we ain't gonna agree. Right. That's where we are, and that's okay.
Yes.
So anyway, all right. I ain't gonna hold you up no longer because we ain't gonna come. We ain't getting no further.
All righty. Well, just let me know when you got the panel together. I'll be there.
Absolutely. Are you on it? We ain't no camera shy either. You know what I'm saying? We go all the way.
We'll do.
All right. Anyway, I appreciate you jumping in, stopping by. I greatly appreciate it. Let's do this shit again once we get the panel going.
All righty.
All right.
Thank
peace.
you.